Hello, today we are going to do a merge request for a KDE Git repository. For that I'm using my terminal. I'm going to build some random KDE Git repository. So let's get to the kdesrc-build directory. Mine has a different name. Okay, what Git repository do we want to build? I know, random one. Elisa Media Player. Okay, so 37 KDE Git repositories to git clone. Make sure they're up to date, they're using the correct branch, because this is kdesrc-build kf5qt5. It's using the kf5 branch for KDE Frameworks version 5. Most of the Git repositories out of these 37 are KDE Frameworks version 5. The very last one will be Elisa. Okay, so kdesrc-build knows the dependencies, so it knows to build other KDE Git repositories before actually building Elisa. And for each of the KDE Git repositories to build, it will do Git operations to make sure that they're using the correct Git commits from the upstream GitLab invent.kde.org, which is this step. And then there's the step to configure, so cmake configure, and then there's the step gmake -j16 in my case, because I have 16 CPU threads, which actually compiles. So this step is in the tilde/kd/src/elisa directory. These steps are in the tilde/kd/build Elisa directory. And the final step takes the build files, so the build artifacts, the .so files, QML, dirs, etc., and the executable Elisa from tilde/kd/build/elisa/bin. So this is the executable, and copy them in the correct place in the prefix. So the prefix is tilde/kd/usr. So Elisa, the executable, will be in tilde/kd/usr/bin in here. Okay. The libraries, so the files with the extension so somewhere in here, I don't know where. Okay, so the KDE Git repository for Elisa has been git cloned, then it did cmake configure, make, and then make install the final step. Okay, so now that we have built this thing, I'll use either a compiler to get additional build warnings or a static analysis tool to get some warnings and try to fix some of these. So it's not important how I get the list of warnings. The important part is how I select one of the warnings, how I try to fix it, how I do the git commit, how I do the merge request. This is what this is all about. So just a second, let me get a list of warnings for Elisa. Okay, so now I have a list of issues. So which one seems easier to work on? So these are mock things, so auto-generated. We cannot actually edit those. Okay, what about this one? So says Elisa/src/audio wrapper lib VLC, so VLC being the media player, .cpp. the literal 0.01, which is a float of type double, yes, is compared to a value of type int. Okay, sounds interesting. Let's look at this thing. Control C, Control N, Control O, Control V, enter. And then the line is 55. Control G, Control B, enter. Okay, so the problem is on line 558, which uses the variable which is the argument, the parameter to the method signal volume changed, named new volume, and the parameter is type int. So new volume is int, but then it compares with .01, and it also does interesting gymnastics in here. So this thing, I do not know what it does. Maybe it casts to int. This probably removes the sign. We'll see. And what about this? What is the type of this thing? So it's a QReal. Okay. Let's copy these things to a text file. Our notes. So it goes like this. And Control G 558 is this thing. So previous volume could be 100.0 and the new volume might be 70. So 100.0 minus 70 is probably 30.0, and that might or might not be cast to int to become 30, and then removes the sign, so it's 30, and then it compares 30 with .01, which doesn't make that much sense. Okay, let's also put the warning to make it available. Okay. The next thing that I do is I actually run this thing in the debugger, or I create a test application or something. So for that, the tool is Qt Creator, the IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Okay, let's go there. So tilde/KDE/src Elisa, copy the path, Control A, Control C, open project, Control V, cmake list.txt. So this is the standard procedure of opening of a KDE Git repository that was just built using kdesrc-build in Qt Creator. And we have a wiki page for that. Hamburger menu, get involved, development, and then in here we search for ID Integrated Development Environment and Qt Creator. Okay, so first we have built Elisa using kdesrc-build, so that means the tilde/kd/src/elisa, tilde/kd/build/elisa, and tilde/kd/usr are correct. And I have this setting in the kdesrc-build.rc file. So the cmake build configuration is debug, not rail with debinfo, which is the default. Okay, and then in Qt Creator I go file, close all projects and editors. I open tilde/kd/src/elisa/cmake list.txt. Then I need to remove all of the kits that are not needed by me. So I go manage kits. I delete everything that's not italic. That's not the desktop default one, under manual. So remove, 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 remove. And this is the final one, apply OK. Sometimes they magically reappear, so I go again, manage kits, OK. And then I can I can import the existing build. So import existing build. I go paste in here and I replace src with build. So it's tilde/kd/build/elisa. Okay. Let's find that file. So where is it? Audio wrapper libvlc. I'm probably not going to be able to exercise this thing using the debugger. Ctrl-Shift-F, Ctrl-V. So audio wrapper is a C++ class, lives inside audio wrapper underscore libvlc.cpp. Okay, and has a twin class, which is audio wrapper private. Okay. And now let's see if we can get until here, but I do not have much hope. So can we get to audio wrapper libvlc constructor? I put 2 breakpoints in here, and then I continue configuring for debug. So I go cmake was already run, so general messages in here. Successful. Next, left sidebar, switch to projects mode. So this wiki page has way too few images. We'll need to correct that. Switch to projects view mode, which is this thing. Okay. Active project should be the executable. Where are you? Active project this. Okay, Lisa. Build and run. Okay. Imported kit. Build. There should be debug 2, which is the case. Then I want to look at this file, the prefix file. Doesn't matter from which KDE repository you take it, because the prefix.sh file is the same, but let's take it from the correct place. Ctrl-N, Ctrl-O, Ctrl-V. This should be Elisa, and this should be .5. Okay, so this is the way it looks like. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-N, Ctrl-V, and the end result should look like this. Okay, so username is actually nmariusp and kd is kd.5, so I'll replace these things. Replace all. Okay, so we have converted the syntax of the file prefix.sh to the syntax that Qt Creator uses in the batch edit for environment variables. So we just prepend to the existing value of existing environment variables one directory. Okay. So this is the block that we're going to need for Qt Creator, this thing. So it says the block of text would look like this. it would be a good idea to save it locally, so let's do that. So we need just a block, Control S, Control V, and kd.5. Okay. Then it says switch to projects mode, this thing. Build and run, this thing. Imported kit, and now not build but run. Run configuration. In here I need to select Elisa. Maybe we can find a test that changes the volume for VLC. This thing. Media player control. So there's two tests that sound good. Let's go with Elisa first. Then environment, use build environment, which is this thing. Press the details button, I did. Press the reset button, not possible because it's disabled. Press the batch edit and paste the text block, which is this guy. Okay. Left click on the sidebar, the button above run. So this is the run button. And the button above it is the kit and project selector. Okay, it says project Elisa, correct? Kit, imported kit. Deploy configuration. Build, debug to, and the entry point executable Elisa, correct? So CMake was run automatically. We can go build. Not really needed because if we start a debugger, it will also build if needed. So let's build anyways. So build is the hammer button. Build project Elisa, Control B. Okay. Then switch to edit mode. We've already put the file in the correct place. We can see that there's an Elisa lib CMake target, which builds the build artifact bin/lib elisa lib.so, which will be hopefully loaded by Elisa, depending on which backend it uses. Let's see if it uses VLC. The following recommended packages have been found: libvlc. So hopefully Elisa uses the backend libvlc, not Qt multimedia. Again, we'll see. Okay, what's the build status? Compiler, 100%. Okay, and now we can start the debugger. Go. Let's hide the tree view using this button. Hide the left sidebar, Alt-0. Okay, so libraries are still loading. We didn't see the main app, the GUI yet. And we have contact, so at least the CTOR, the constructor, is called. So we know, we can guess that Elisa uses the multimedia backend VLC, not Qt Multimedia. Okay, what's this D thing? Is a audio wrapper private. So the D pointer, the pimple, is using this C++ type, and we're inside of the constructor of the audio wrapper. Okay. Let's continue running and see, maybe by adjusting the volume, our method is actually called. Continue GDB for Elisa. Okay, this thing, let's change the volume. While it's playing. Maybe we don't have a breakpoint there. So Control G does not work. How do we go to a line? Control L. Okay, interesting. Joke. No breakpoints here. Let's put a breakpoint. Adjust the volume, and we hit our method. Okay. So we managed to use Qt Creator, the integrated development environment, to run Elisa, which was built using the CMake-build configuration debug, which was built using kdesrc-build. We managed to put a breakpoint in the method that we actually want to edit, and we'll be able to see what happens, and if we do a change, we can test it in here using the debugger. Okay, so previous volume is 46, which is a QReal, which is a what? So QReal is a double. Okay. Back to the place where we're paused in the debugger. So the new volume is 47, the previous volume is 46. Okay. F10. If it's not running, it will not do anything. It's not running. It shouldn't do anything. Not sure what's happening here. Okay. So this is 46.0. This is 47. I'm not sure what this int does. What this ups does. This is stdabs, which is what? stdabs. Computes the absolute value of an integer number. supports int long. Does not seem to support double and float. So it requires an integer number. There's also FABS. So in here it all depends how fine do they want. So this is an event, a signal that's raised when the user changes the volume on the slider. And if the user, I don't know, went from 47% to 47%, so just, I know, returned back to where it started from, then the program should not do anything. Because there was no delta. No, the UI is not dirty. But in the case that it is dirty, then things will happen. So it stores the new volume as the preferred one, and then it triggers other changes. Okay, so that's a that's actually a limitation such that player volume signal changes is not called abusively. Okay, and we can see the same pattern kind of everywhere. Only if media duration has actually changed, then the signal duration change will call player duration signal changes. Okay, I'm not sure why in here it doesn't say if like this. If the old volume is different from the new volume, then that's it. We're calling the player volume signal changes. You know, being a double, maybe it might change by 0.0003, which is way too small a change. So I guess that changing the volume by 0.01 is nonsense, and it totally does not, that's not how the source code works. The source code right now works in 1% increments. So if the previous volume is 46 and the new volume is 41, then that's an increment of 1%. Okay, so 46 minus 47 is minus 1. That's converted to int is minus 1. And then we go absolute value, that's plus 1. So plus 1 is equal or greater than 1. So the player volume signal changes is actually called. Okay, so this is the change that I'm going to propose, because we can go in just two directions, either to compare with 1% or to compare with 0.01%. But I'm not really sure if people can actually change the volume slider with just 0.01%. 0.5%. Okay, let's stop this thing. Control S. I'm going to run Elisa again, but I do not know how to change this otherwise than this. So if it's 1% increment or more, then we call the protected event. Okay, if it goes from 0 to -1, that's not allowed. If it goes from 0 to -10, that's probably not possible. If it goes from 100 to 120, that's allowed. So all of the corner cases seem to have been covered by this. Okay, so we can start the debugger, save, Control S, and then we start the debugger either by pressing this button, or by pressing this button, or by going debug, start debugging of startup project F5. Before actually the debugger can start, it sees that it depends on the build target, so it actually compiles the application, because the one CPP file in the application has changed, so it triggered a build, not a rebuild. So you can see it jumped from 9% to 48%. Okay, so the build was fast, and then it started the debugger. Okay, here is the breakpoint in the seat or in the constructor. Let's remove this thing, and we go debug, continue F5. It entered the signal volume change for the value 97, and it's not playing, so it returns F5. Okay, now we have the UI working. In order for, so when we change the volume, the event will be triggered, the debugger will stop online, pause online 550 again, but again the return early on line 555 will happen. So let's do that. The new volume is 33. Return early on line 555. F5. And now we actually need to start the playback. Okay. The new volume is 47. Now it's playing, which playing is not stopped state. Stopped state is probably 0. Yeah, 0. The new volume is 47, the previous is 100. Interested that it triggered this event. So I just pressed the play button, and it replayed the previous event where I changed the volume from 100 to the middle to 47. Okay, so 100 minus 47, 100.0 minus 47 is 53, which is plus 53, which is greater than or equal to 1. So it triggers player volume signal changes. F5. Should start playing anytime now. It's not paused in the debugger, it says running. Okay, and application is doing what? pulse audio output error overflow flushing. And flushing again, doesn't matter. We can adjust the volume again. Okay, the new volume is 64, the previous one was 47. The state is not stopped, is actually playing. There's a delta, so the GUI is dirty. 64 to 47. So I'm happy with this code change. Let's actually push it to the KDE Git repository Elisa. Okay. For that, I will need my user accounts. So let me get those. Okay. So I've logged into invent.kde.org, which is an instance of the software GitLab, which is this thing. So there's gitlab.com, which is an alternative to github.com, so a software as a service cloud thing. But the software that is used in order to run gitlab.com, a part of it can be downloaded and run in on-premise, so on your own servers, which is what the KDE community does. Okay, and the address is invent.kde.org. In order to get to the Elisa Git repository, I went KDE, invent, and then Elisa. This thing. Open a new tab. And now let's follow the wiki page where it tells us how to write to the master branch, or to the most important long-lived Git branch of the KDE Git repository Elisa. Okay. So back to the page Get Involved Development, which is again kde.org, hamburger menu, Get Involved Development, and in here there's this is the official entry point, the wiki page for how to start programming for KDE. Part of this wiki page is how to build Elisa, so how to set up kdesrc-build such that kdesrc-build space Elisa works correctly, and you can read the source code of the Git master branch of the invent.kde.org/Elisa Git repository, and how you can compile and run the latest source code. We did that, and now we have also edited the source code of Elisa, and we want to write to the master branch of the Elisa KDE Git repository. Okay. The first thing that we need for that, we need to set up Git. So the chapter configure Git in this wiki page. So let's see if I configure Git correctly. So what's that? Git config --help. What's the command line to show the value? Get all. List L. Okay, -L. So indeed user.name is configured and user.email is configured. Okay, Control L. the next thing that we need to do, where are you, is to make sure that we have the latest and greatest source code. So for that, I'm navigating into tilde/kd/src/elisa, and I'm going to go git fetch. Okay, then I'm going to go git GUI, and do not forget the and character at the end, so the ampersand. Let's go repository visualize all branch history. So it says that Elisa has just one long-lived branch, which is called master. It doesn't yet have a branch for Qt6kf6. Okay. I'm going to git commit. So I click on the icon of the file, src audio wrapper libvrc.cpp in the area unstaged changes. So click on the icon. Now I'm going to click on the, if I click on the icon again, it's going to unstage it. So staged, unstaged, staged, unstaged. But if I click on the file name, not on the icon, it's going to show me the diff in unified diff format. Okay, so I only replaced greater than 0.01 with greater or equal to 1. That's all I did. Okay, then I'm going to prepare the git commit message. So it should have a title, which is where does the action happen in the file src audio wrapper libvrc.cpp. Okay, and what did it happen? What did we change? I don't know. It's really important to actually paste the warning that we got from the static analysis tool, or from the linter, or from the compiler. So we have that stored in here. Okay, like this, Control C. And I'm actually going to paste it in the body of the commit message. So the commit message has two parts, a title, then a new line, so an empty new line, an empty line, and then the body. So I go fix. I'm not sure if this actually fixed the issue or not, but this is why I'm not saying fixed, I say fix. Okay. Who signaled the issue? It was the tool pvs-studio issue, and then I paste the issue inside double quotes. So it says src audio wrapper libvrc error. I need to put some new lines in here because the body of a git commit message is limited to, I don't know, 40 characters or something. And the title, the git commit message title, is even shorter than that. So in order to get at the correct way of, recommended way of writing a git commit message, you write git commit message like this on Google, and it will take you to the correct place. Better. Okay. So more code is not a good git commit message title. So it says fixed, does not say fixed. Okay, and then at the end we get at rules. So there's a subject, which is maximum 50 characters long. Then there's a body, which is maximum 72 characters long. the body explains what and why, not how, because we can see the source code change, but why did we do the source code change? Capitalize the subject line. Do not end the subject line with a period because it's a title, it's not a sentence. Use the imperative mood in the subject line. Separate subjects of the title from body with a blank line, which I did. Okay. Let's close all of these pages, Ctrl W. Okay. So I like the body, I do not like the subject or title. So compare the volume delta as integer with 1. Compare the volume delta as integer with 1 to 1. I don't know. Okay, commit. So this has actually done git commit for the current changes with the current git commit message. It says so in the status bar, so it says created commit, then part of SHA-1 sum, and then the title. We can look at the visualize all branch history to see that on top of the remote origin master branch, there's just one git commit, which is ours, which is pointed to by the local master git branch. Okay. So the history is linear, which we want. We do not want anything else. The file change is okay. The commit message is okay. Now we're going to do the following steps in here. So this says how to set up kdesrc-build, how to build. Okay, and then it says iterating on a single project. And submitting changes. I choose what to do. Okay. I did my changes. I already tested by running the changes in the debugger, but I can do more changes, more checks. Okay, so let's actually do these checks. So let's navigate to the where? To the nowhere. I want to build Elisa in such a way so this thing is not kconfig but Elisa. In such a way that kdesrc-build does not do any git operations on my clone of the Elisa KDE Git repository. So that's why I'm using the parameter no_src. I do not want it to build any other KDE Git repositories, no include dependencies. And I want to refresh build because I want a full build, not a rebuild, so full build. And then I want a full make install, so all of the files from the tilde/kde/build/elisa directory that need to be copied will be copied into the prefix, which is tilde/kd/usr directory. And debug to see full standard output. Okay, so right now it's building. So it's building in parallel using 16 CPU threads. Okay, and then it ran make install. So make install writes in tilde/kd/usr various subdirectories there. Let's make sure that this thing runs. So kdesrc-run Elisa. It does run. Will it play? Go play. Okay, we can change the volume, we can mute. Okay, standard output does not say anything new. Hopefully. Then we are advised to run the tests. So let's do that. So that's actually happening in a different directory, which is tilde/kd/build Elisa. Okay, we need to source the prefix, yes. Let's actually open a terminal in there, Ctrl-Shift-T, cd build and then Elisa. Source the prefix, correct. Run the tests, make a test. So what we want in here is that our git commit does not introduce more issues. So before actually doing our changes, we should have run make test and note down which tests do not pass. And then after we do our commit and build again and run make test again, the same list of tests should not pass. We should not add new tests that do not pass, because that would be a regression introduced by our code change, if the tests are not flaky. Okay. Okay, so while that thing is running, so we did the make test, right? If one test fails and we want to, and did not fail before we change the source code, then yes, we need to investigate. But this is not going to be the case this time. Okay. Else, what next things do we need to do? Submit a merge request. Once you're happy with your patch, I have it. It's verified. KDE uses a instance of GitLab called invent, so invent.kd.org. So now you need to set up your KDE online accounts. So you need one account in invent, in identity. In here, you need another account. You need to log in with this account to invent.kd.org. In here, then you need to configure GitLab as specified in this wiki page. So you need to log in. Okay. Then you need to set up two-factor authentication. You will install probably on your phone an application such as Google Authenticator. You already did git config global user email and username. You will need to create a pair of SSH keys. You need to add it to GitLab profiles as specified in here, which I did. We use GitLab merge requests. Usually mine are just one git commit. The end result is that what we really want is to write to the master branch of a KDE Git repository. Okay, and for that, since I'm not allowed to write to this Git repository, I'm allowed to write to the Git repository that's mine inside of invent.kde.org and is a fork of this KDE Git repository. So for that, I'm using the, where are you? I'm forking the project. So I found the project. This is Elisa. I press the fork button. If you don't have a fork, it will create a fork. If not, it will say go to your fork, the tooltip of the button, and it will just navigate to your fork. Your fork is invent.kde.org/username/Elisa. So I did these steps already. Then I'm going to look at the list of remotes using this command line. Okay, so inside of the tilde/kd/src/elisa directory, I'm running this command line, git remote -v, tells me that there's just one git remote, which is named origin, and we want two, both the origin and fork. Okay, for that we need this syntax, git remote add fork, copy, paste, and then we need a URL of type SSH from my clone of the Elisa Git repository, so invent.kde.org/n-p/Elisa. This clone button, clone with SSH, and now it says the URL that you copy to the clipboard. So I go right click, paste, and then it says git remote -v again, and there should be two remotes now, so origin and fork. We cannot write to origin because it doesn't use this protocol, the git SSH protocol. Okay, next. So the list of remotes is correct. We need to create a branch and commit. So let's do the branch. So we're in tilde/kd/src/elisa. We start git GUI here. Okay, let's look at the history, repository visualize all branch history. Okay, so we're ahead of remotes origin master with just one git commit. We're still on the local git branch master, so we can right click on the title of the commit message of our only new commit, git commit, and we go create new branch, which actually does git whatever -branch, git branch, or what is the syntax for creating a git branch from the command line. And then I always use as branch name not this thing, so not just plain text, not this convention work /, but I use work/username/ what the branch actually does. Okay, so work username, and what the branch does. I get a bit of a suggestion when I create the branch after I do the git commit, because I can see the git commit message title in here. And compare integer 1. It doesn't matter what the name of the branch actually is, but it should always respect this naming convention work slash username slash something. So work slash ratijas slash something. Right? This git commit uses the same convention. This uses the same convention. This the same convention, etc. Okay. Then in here it says git checkout, with which checkout means you should be on this git branch. So for that I go double click. Doesn't work. Okay, right click, check out this branch. So when I check out this branch becomes bold. And when I check out this branch becomes bold. So it should be on the branch work slash mrsp slash compare integer 1. We can close this git history, git k space minus all. So that GUI application was actually git k space minus all, and then an ampersand. Okay, and it says in the title git k minus all. Okay, so we're back into git GUI. I go rescanning here, and now it says that the current branch is work and mrsp compare integer 1, not master, which is important. And then I look at the list of remotes. There's 2 of them. When I go remote fetch from, I'm fetching from origin 1 more time. It did not download anything. I confirm again that no new git commits exist on remote's origin master. And now I'm ready to push. Okay. If there are new commits on top of remote's origin master, so let's say that the history is like this, but then on top of this commit, the commit from 045336, there are 2 more git commits, and the remote origin master is pointing to that. So actually our local git master branch is behind the remote origin master branch with 2 git commits. What I do then is I do a git rebase. So that's git rebase space origin slash master. Okay, git space rebase space origin slash master. If it doesn't have anything to do, there's not a problem. If it has things to do, it will do them. So how it does, it puts on top of the remote origin master branch, so on the commit, on top of the commit that remote's origin master is pointing to, or all of our commits that exist just in my local git repository, and keeps the history linear, exactly like this. So on top of remote's origin master, all of my local git commits that do not exist on remote's origin, only exist on the local KDE git, on the local git repository. Okay, so no need to actually run git rebase origin master because the history is already correct. But if the history is in the shape of an uppercase Y, then this is the solution that I use. And now finally, I'm at the stage where I'm going to write to my KDE git repository, to my fork of the KDE git repository, so to invent.kde.org/nmariusp/elisa. The step is called git push fork and then the name of my branch, but since I do not know the name of my branch, I'm going to use git GUI for that. So remote push, it has selected the correct branch to push, but the wrong remote. So I cannot write to the remote origin. That's why I need to select the remote fork. And again, in here we can see it doesn't say git push origin, it says git push fork. Okay, so this is the git push GUI. I've selected the remote fork and the correct branch So I can now go push. It takes a while, and then it returns this message. You have written to your GitLab fork of Elisa. Now you can ask the people that can actually write to the repository invent.kit.org/multimedia/Elisa. I'm going to ask the people that can write here, please take one branch from here, put it in here, and then inside of the master branch of here, and then delete the delete my branch, such that my git commits get copied from this branch to multimedia Elisa master branch. Okay. I might either do what the text says, which says I can go to this URL or to here, or I can just go to either invent.kit.org/multimedia/Elisa or invent.kit.org/myusername/Elisa and press the refresh button in the web browser. I'll be greeted with this green-gray bar, which says that I have written to my fork a branch. So now I have the possibility of advertising that this branch can be used in order to improve this Git repository. So I go create merge request, and my merge request is from my Git repository, so from nmariusp/Elisa, from the branch work/nmariusp/compare integer1 towards another Git repository, which is multimedia/Elisa, and there's the branch master. Since there's just one git commit in my branch, it copies that git commits message title as the title of the merge request, and it copies the body of the git commit message as the body of the as the description of the merge request. Unfortunately, GitLab always does something wrong to my merge request descriptions, so they look strange sometimes. It replaces C++ source code with emoticons, and it eats the new lines that I have intentionally put in here. So most of the time I just select all of the text inside of the description and I press the insert code button. Okay. And now the merge request description is exactly the same as the git commit message body. I keep all of the checkboxes at their default values, so not mark as draft, delete source branch when merge request is merged. Okay, allow commits from members who can merge to the target branch. I look one more time at the changes tab. There should be just greater than replaced with greater than or equals, and the 0.01 replaced with 1, which is the case. And I finally press the create merge request button. Okay, now it says open, so a new merge request was created. Its ID is 432. It says it's open by me, from which Git repository and branch to which Git repository and branch. I like the merge request title and description. I look again at changes. No surprise in here. And that's it. From now on, it's just a waiting game. I'm waiting for somebody to either like my merge request and merge it, or do something else with it. I know, maybe I need to not compare with 1 actually, but I need to compare with 0.01, in which case I need to convert this thing to float, or not, keep this minus operation be floating point, not integer. Do not cast to int, do not use absolute, and in here do somehow use f-ups, or probably, you know, for the floating point, and then compare that with 0.01. So probably like that. So convert this thing, keep this thing, delete this thing, replace ups with f-ups, and then keep this thing. But we'll see how the people that can actually write to this KDE Git repository react to my merge request. I cannot write to this KDE Git repository. I can write to this, where are you? To my fork of this Git repository. I can write to invent.kdesrc-build/nmariusp/elisa. I totally cannot write to invent.kdesrc/multimedia/elisa. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.